are going to be wrong with my Lamborghini Countach and need fixing. Hopefully, there won't be too many crazy surprises and too many expensive bills behind them. Come on in. My old pal Donnie, who has my Lamborghini Countach in a million pieces right now in anticipation for what is more than just a once every 4-year major service. We're really doing kind of a once every 15 or 20 year overhaul. And just like my Ferrari, which came out so good, it was an adventure. It was expensive and it took a long time, but after doing a 900-mile road trip with you to Arizona and back, man, was it worth it. That car is ace now. And it really inspired me to go, okay, well, if that's the transformation for that car, imagine what we could do with this car. And this car has already served me really well. It's been really reliable. 8,000 kilometers in 4 years of ownership. It only broke once. Had a little electrical issue.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember that?
I remember that.
And other than that, other than sweating a little bit of oil on the surface, there was nothing really wrong with the car. When I came here because the window mechanism broke.
Right.
Not a big deal. But while it was here, you finished my other car, and I said, "Oh man, this is so great." Right. You know, maybe it's time that we do all of that stuff, the suspension and the brakes and everything with this car, and it was really bothering you that it was leaking.
Yeah.
It didn't leak that bad, but I mean, it was messy because leaks are messy, but it didn't leak enough that you could detect it on the dipstick. Here we are. The engine's not quite out of the car yet, but it's mostly disassembled. There's hoses and wires and shit everywhere. The cooling system is apart. Now we get to find out what Donnie has discovered. So take me through everything that's wrong with my very rare, expensive Italian car. Folks, today's video is brought to you by Drift. This is a cool new company that creates air care products for your car and your home. Of course, this being a car channel, we're talking about your car. And this is a pretty neat air freshener. It looks good, it smells good, and it's on this magnetic clip. So you clip this to your visor, and every month you get a new Drift block to go on there. Stays on by itself. Very cool. All their materials are sustainable, and their scents are made with natural essential fragrance oils. It smells really nice. And the car care products include stone freshener, a wood freshener, and a metal one. This is obviously the wood one. They've got candles, reeds, home sprays, all that stuff for your home. Drift is truly a one-stop shop to make your home and car smell amazing. And what's cool about these Drift car fresheners is that you can get them as a subscription. So first you get a starter kit with the clip and the scent, and then you get monthly refills as they recommend changing it out every 30 days. So the best part is their scent of the month, which features a new limited edition scent each month. It's inspired by the season and the memories and emotions attached to that. As you know, memories are really attached to smell, right? Same with seasons. It's great. And I'm really into this one. The subscription is very flexible. You can change your scent choice, your delivery, or cancel at any time you like. So hit the link in the description or go to drift.co and use code TIRE55 for 55% off of these amazing Drift scents. And thanks to Drift for sponsoring today's video.
You know, it's the same thing. It's age. Age really nails a lot of this stuff. The rubber especially, fuel lines, vapor, it all comes apart. These are your oil lines.
Yeah.
And although they're functional, they're looking their age.
You can see the dryness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, what is this made of, Donnie?
Well, that's a soft braided metal skin,
yeah.
But inside it's a hard rubber. It's an oil compatible rubber, but we have serious material today.
Yeah.
So when you put a brand new line in, it's all fresh and crisp, and the interior will last forever.
You're obsessed with factory original stuff. But when you say we have serious material today, are we replacing that line with a modern line or with an OEM?
Inside.
Inside.
Outside, it'll be identical, but it'll be brand new.
Oh, okay.
It'll be shiny and stuff.
Right. But on the inside, the rubber is better than what they used then. Oh, okay. Donnie likes to send me photos of hoses that are cut open. When he takes the hoses out of the car, he always cuts them open and sends me the photos of, here's what it looked like on the outside, and typically it looks kind of okay like this, and then on the inside, it looks like elephant skin. Yeah. You know, it's a mess. So rubber, it all needs replacing.
It all needs replacing, and of course there'll be the argument of the silicone rubber, that I've taken most of it off, but you'll see it in the back there. It's the latest, greatest thing, and I've been around it a little bit. It's nice, but it still doesn't have that authentic, old school coolant rubber, you know, which is beautiful, and it was with the car when you saw this brand new, you know, it imprinted your mind, and that's what it is. This stuff, it's growing on me, but I still am not with it.
So modern hoses,
the
not
silicone
really into
stuff.
It.
It all used to be blue, and that's all you could get. But now they've got a dark gray, which is like, okay, that's better.
Okay.
It's functional, but at what price and what functionality compared to the original rubber? You know, that's a whole nother discussion. But so there's been a lot of repairs, and there's been a lot of non-repairs that are the head scratch. It's like, you were there, you did all this work, and yet you didn't do this, and this is a major piece, and it's right there in front of you.
You're in there.
Yeah.
Which is how bills get out of hand, but it's so much cheaper to do it while you're in there than it is to take the whole thing apart again when it fails later.
Yeah. So, you know, going back to your point of the oil leaks weren't, you know, quarter or silver dollar size oil leaks. They were mini lakes under this engine. You drove it regularly, which kept everything swole up.
Right.
So it kept.
Well, that was what I would notice. If I drove it once a week, it wouldn't leak. If it sat for 2 or 3 weeks, it would leak.
Yeah, and you'd have literally, I'm not exaggerating, I have the stains, little lakes of oil, which are unacceptable, 100% unacceptable. And I tried to source it out, and I found it, and it's like, oh my God. So we pull it apart, and we'll seal up all the leaks. But again, this should have all been done a long time ago. But enough of that. There's something really funny. That's your outside cover to your water pump.
The little thing that looks like a turbo right there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You see those little braces coming off of it?
Please tell me those are not factory original and someone welded a buttress on this.
It broke off. How the water pump broke, I have no idea. It may have been coming in or out. You know, you try and forensically figure it out.
Welded buttresses on there?
They welded it back up and then welded buttresses to it, and you see all the crystallization?
Get the fuck out of here.
It still leaked like a sieve. So it broke. It's a really creative repair.
How much is a water pump?
Is
that some super special?
It's a 400 engine. They're all the same. I'm sure there's differences between one or another, but
like the amount of work it took to engineer a fix on that rather than just replace the goddamn water pump.
Exactly. Well, that's just an outside flange.
That's crazy.
It's just a part that goes onto the pump.
So it's not even the pump itself. It's just that the part attached to the pump. So the pump itself is still okay.
Maybe fine. It was fine. You always ran cool.
You got to give me that when you take it.
Oh, I know. Okay.
I need to turn that into a paperweight or something.
Absolutely.
That's an unbelievably shanty fix.
Because first we noticed, like, wow, that's really crystal. That's really like fuzzy. I'm like, oh, I love the fuzzy shit. Get pictures, get pictures. And then I started looking at it again, going, wait. This car hasn't left Los Angeles.
It was sold new in Pennsylvania, came to Los Angeles 25 years ago and has been here ever since. I guess, you know, we don't know when. I got to look in I have the records.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'll go back and look for a water pump repair and see if I can find when that was done.
Right.
But something tells me they didn't put that on the invoice.
I don't know. So another thing, since we have...
That's a fun one.
Yeah, it's a trip. The intake manifold's over there, and it's just this big, beautiful piece. It just comes right up and off. It's like, wow, bravo, Lamborghini. Thank you for that.
They still do it like that.
Yeah. So Lamborghini did some interesting things. These are the blocks that make it a 5,000. These spacers.
Wait.
This is
So
basic 400
the main block is a 400.
Yeah.
But then they put spacers between the block and the heads to increase the stroke.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here.
That's what that is.
That is so...
And it's a simple O-ring. Well, it's not simple, but it's this huge fuck-off O-ring.
That's so crazy. That might be... I mean, has anyone else ever done that? Is that how it's done?
Read or paid attention to, but
That's wild.
You make another engine.
Do people know that that's how that's done? They continue to increase the displacement of this engine through the Diablo. Does the 6 liter just have like a 2-inch spacer on there?
Huge machine.
The spacer isn't that big. I mean, it's maybe it's a half inch maybe. But if you multiply by 12, you know, for each cylinder, that's how you get an extra liter of displacement. That's hilarious, dude.
I know, it's trippy. Because all this stuff, all these plates and everything, that's off of Mira. This is the engine, which was smart of Lamborghini. They just kept improving on what they had. They came up with a base and they're just like, this is what we're doing. We're machined up for it. We're kicking everyone's ass because this is where we're going to stay forever, just like Jag did forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird and somewhere between creative and ghetto. But, I mean, there's just a plate. It's block, plate, head. That's crazy.
And the barrels come up and meet the head.
Yeah.
So it's just this outline. You know, it's so big.
All right.
So we've got our air injectors, you know, on each side, and you can see the mechanics or the mechanicals of them going into the manifold and into the head. So those will come off, get welded up.
Right. That's U.S. smog stuff.
Yeah, that's all that.
We don't need that.
EPA stuff. And I'll find or make the brass plugs that go into the injector ports on the heads, well, like on the Daytona. And they go all the way in and they come flush with the port. Because if you don't have it all the way in, it'll create a whistle. Because a lot of people will put bolts on it, it just starts whistling like crazy.
We don't want that.
So that'll relieve all that. This thing is really shoehorned in here.
Well, to take the engine out, it has to come out from the top with the transmission attached to it.
Exactly, but here's your diff. Look at the room. There's no room.
There's like an inch and a half between the. Oh
so
no!
Down here.
So there's about.
They're 4 inches.
4 inches there, yeah.
So with that being said, it has to come this way as much as possible and then start its tilt. Well, even if I have that much more room coming back, there's nothing between the back of the engine and the body. This thing is shoehorned in here. This is a trip. These weird things that are on both sides.
The USB port. Yeah.
Just like,
Well, I mean, obviously not original. And it goes into a metal box.
It goes into this funky metal box back there.
And what does the metal box do?
I have no idea.
Well, there's wires that come out of it and go all over the place.
There's wires that come out of that, and they go into these weird little steel boxes. This is some weird, funky aftermarket stuff.
But I don't understand what it's supposed to do.
I don't understand either.
Because doesn't the fuel computer, isn't it controlled by the...
Well, yeah, it's a basic Bosch injection system. The same as the 328s, Testarossas, anything of the era. This is 85, right?
It's 88, but it would have been the same from 85.
To look at it, it's the same.
Yeah.
The distributors, everything are exactly the same.
So we
have a USB port going to a metal box that's unlabeled.
There's 2 of them.
And we have absolutely no idea what they do.
Right, and they've got all these weird wires, and wires have been jumped, wires have been cut to facilitate whatever this thing did. I was told that it was to make sure the car could run on 91. Like, wait, what? Huh? Okay.
Hi, my name is Matt Farah from Los Angeles, California, and I am doing a restoration on my 1988 Lamborghini Countach, and in taking the car apart, we found one of your control boxes, and I'd like to find out what it does, frankly. Quick sidebar, guys. We actually were able to figure out what that little metal box does. We took it apart, and inside was the name of a company that amazingly is still in business today. It was called Unwired Technologies, and what this box is supposedly does is it allows you to control via a laptop the Bosch injection system. Now, if you ask Donnie, he doesn't know why anything like this would be useful, because the car ran perfectly fine without it when it came from the factory. My guess would be, based on a search of our service records, that someone installed it in a way to hack the computer to get the car to pass smog. Bottom line is, whatever it's supposed to do, we don't need it anymore going forward, so we're taking it out. All right, so we're getting rid of all of that.
Getting rid of all that. It's just funny to find such a thing. Other stuff is just this. So the rust, that's the bypass or the connection for the water jacket and your thermostat housing and everything that then goes off to the radiator. It's just stuff like that drives me nuts.
I mean, the engine, the heads themselves look relatively clean.
From the outside, they're fine, yeah. I mean, I'll pull plugs and I'll really look at everything.
Did you do a compression test?
No, but I'll do that. I'll go through and check all that out. I'll go through and I'll replace all this stuff that's rotten. I'll clean up all these wires to nothing. That's one wire that belongs there. You know, these other things were just, this is AC, but this is to nothing. There's so many wires to nothing.
I'm sure my AC works when you're done.
Well, that's the thing. So I'm not even going to break it. I'm going to take it off to the side. We have plenty of room to store it.
This is not the 328. I need air conditioning in this car. No, this car is not usable without air conditioning, and it works fine.
Yeah. And the other thing, you know, of course, these will be replaced. It's basically, I'm going to do what I do.
Yeah.
And everything will be really beautiful and sweet.
The other thing is, this car had some janky 90s alarm system installed, aftermarket.
Which just fucking bit me in the ass.
Right, because you couldn't figure out how to make it go away.
Right, and at this point, you know, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, so it just sits there and flips out on the car.
Right, it needs to all be taken out.
It's all being thrown in the trash.
None of that sounds that bad yet.
I'm taking it back to a factory Euro spec.
Right, but we're leaving the Bertoni exhaust because it's real cool.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is perfect.
The Bertoni exhaust is real cool.
It's just straight, and it's just two big glass packs.
Yeah, I know, it's wild. And it's a prototype. It says patent pending. I confirmed, I spoke with Bertoni's grandson. I sent them the number off.
This is the exhaust people, not the design people.
The people that did Lamborghini tuning in the 80s and 90s, it's them.
All right.
It's them.
Because it's a Bertone design.
No, B-U-R-T-O-N-I, not B-E-R-T-O-N-E. Different, similar, but it's the Goombified version. It's the Jersey version. It's Bertoni. No disrespect. I love you, Al Bertoni. Okay.
The other thing were also the radiators. Were just leaking, massive leaking, and all crystallized goo.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
From the radiator body itself. So you have fresh radiators.
But you already have new ones, right?
Yeah, they're sitting in the radiator shop. I'm going to bring him the fans to make sure everything's cool.
Yeah, you sent me some photos. And the fans are okay, right? The fans
the fans are fine.
Fans were there, and they're electric fans.
Yeah, they're the good fans.
Good. And the radiators, you said, you record the original radiators?
Yeah, both of them have fresh, serious, modern guts for core, real material.
Yeah.
Not some janky shit.
The ones that were in there were original to the car, right?
They're original, but they had seen their lifespan.
Yeah.
So that'll also all be cleaned up. Everything will be gone through and cleaned up. Wherever paint needs to be laid, which will probably be a lot of this, it'll all be painted. Everything will be fresh. Everything will be clean.
Okay.
You know, because as you know, if anything comes to me, it isn't just like, okay, well, we'll fix that and get it back together and run down the road. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Everything has to be touched.
Okay.
Everything has to be made nice.
So on top, we're not looking too bad. All right. Definitely not as bad as a Ferrari.
No.
Ferrari was worse.
The Ferrari was a lot worse, which is interesting. Because this is 12 cylinders, and this is just as intense.
That math isn't, well, it's 12 cylinders, so it's 50% more fucked. That's not how that math works.
Well, no, it doesn't, which is interesting.
Okay, do we want to look underneath it?
Yes, we
All
do.
right, show me underneath. All right, since we're over here and we're finding all kinds of good stuff, the manifold is pretty neat on this car.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it was a 3-bolt pull-off, which is like, thank you. The injectors are very interesting because they have a little fork on them for a hold down. They go on this little stud.
Yeah.
And it's just a little rubber bushing. It's nothing special.
Huh.
The Ferraris are serious.
Yeah.
They're serious about their bushings. This is just a little sleeve, a little top half sleeve. The injectors just drop right into. Everything came apart beautifully. I'm like, wow, thanks Lamborghini. That was pretty cool.
Nice. This linkage is very neat.
Yeah.
Running the whole length of the manifold here. Yeah.
The little caps are rotted off or have been messed with a million times by people. So I'll go in and I'll clean everything up.
Do you think this needs to be refinished or can just be cleaned?
I can try and clean it. I'd like to look at some others. 'Cause if there are 2 different colors, we leave it.
Okay.
If they're supposed to be uniform,
This end runner is a little darker than the center section.
right?
Yeah.
If it's uniform and something special, I'll have it all wrinkle finished again.
Okay.
In powder coat, so it'll be forever.
Cool.
But I was just impressed. I'm like, this thing's actually a little work of art.
It's a lovely piece. I mean, it's the kind of thing where if it wasn't in a car, you'd like to make a table out of it or something, you know? It would make a pretty cool table, actually. Mm-hmm. It's too bad there aren't any, like, extras around. All right, cool. Let's look under the car. I love this. This really is like a homemade muffler with glass packs. And it says CVX Racing Muffler, V12 Engineering, patent pendings, Gilroy, California. Gilroy. Garlic capital of the world. And V12 Engineering was Al Bertoni's company. So very cool piece there. And I have the stock exhaust sitting at home, which I may want to send that out to have it like polished or chromed or something and maybe turn it into some art because it's cool. All right, so there's definitely some messiness from oil under here.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Don't need that. What is that?
No, it was a brace for the
Bracket?
coolant. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is hanging because it was just
zip tied. Italian. It's Italian zip tie. This was probably zip tied to this.
right. I broke it off.
To this at some point. Oh, okay. You took it off.
Yeah.
All right.
So you can
Is it
see-
supposed to be zip tied?
No,
How is it supposed to be fitted?
I will figure that out.
Okay.
But it will go back to the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
You know, regular road rash, lots of oil.
This plate is pretty shitty. I mean, it's like torn.
Well, it looks like somebody just fabbed it up.
Oh, you think?
Outside of the
Oh, you think that's a heat shield because of this exhaust, maybe?
Could be.
Because this
Should
exhaust
be.
might be hotter. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or it just got replaced with a
All right.
jinky one.
I'll have to stick my head under another Countach and see if that's there.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
cool. Anyways, just lots of filth. I'll have your shocks redone.
Well, we need either new shocks or rebuilt shocks for sure, right? And how cool is it that we have 2 rear shocks here?
Yeah, well, boxers.
It's like that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boxers, TRs. No, TRs are singles.
What is the reason for the dual shocks?
Stability, just bitchiness.
Okay.
Back in the day. Just
Okay.
really fucking cool shit. Nice fat aluminum hub. Everything is rusty and filthy, so when I'm done, everything will be just like on the 328. Fresh, bright, crisp, all hardware new. You can see one of your joints is completely gone on this side and yet wide open on the bottom. You see that? That's that hard plastic that is literally disintegrated.
So the bushings on this car are not like standard rubber bushings.
No.
It's like Heim joints.
Yeah, exactly.
It's race car stuff from the period.
Right.
But
Or
then
aircraft,
but then it has the sort of those plastic things.
Yeah, the inserts.
Yeah, that we read about in that article. Aaron Robinson did a great article with a guy who in Fort Collins, Colorado, who is a Countach expert.
Right.
And when I read his article, especially right after you finished my car, and he described this setup, and when these plastic inserts go bad, he said the line was, "That's when the bills rain down like hellfire."
But that is a quote on the
But he described the behavior of the car, a little bit of a looseness when they start to go bad, and I recognize that in this car.
Well, me too, because in driving this car with or without you out here, it's like I'm in a Cadillac.
Soft.
We're rolling in a Cadillac because I'm used to regular tighter stuff.
Yeah. So all of this needs to come apart and be replaced.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, you can see all the wear, all the rust, everything gets cleaned up, and you have your trailing arms up here. There's a lot of parts to this. This isn't, stamped, ready to go, A-arms and what have you.
But
everything is
like
special
failed,
too.
Right? It's
it's failed in the way that it's gone.
Well, those are designed to last. They're just at the end of their life or past the end of their life.
Right. And they had a shelf life or life expectancy of
15, 20 years, and we're at 35.
Everything is castled too. All the hardware is special.
Yeah.
Which is like, gee, thanks a lot.
So, but can this be reused or does that be replaced?
Well, I'll probably get all fresh.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of friends at Lamborghini.
But other than these plastic inserts, nothing broken.
No. Well, like I said, it's broken in the way that it's done.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. It's great when you can just like pull shit off there, right? So that it's supposed to be on.
Okay. The other thing is, all this stuff will come apart. Rubber that's deteriorated like this will be replaced with fresh rubber.
Okay.
It's really going to be a nice job, like I do.
Yeah.
Fuel tanks will probably come out and be cleaned up. Okay. Anything I can get.
While the fuel tank is out, can you see if you can make the gauge be a little more accurate?
Yeah.
The gauge has 3 settings.
Oh, really?
The first 5 miles, it's full. Then it jumps to half and sits there for like 150 miles.
Oh.
And then it drops to the bottom.
Right.
It has 3 measurements.
Do you have the light that blinks, the reserve light that hits once and you're like, okay, now I need to...
I've never gotten it that low. I don't know. I also just don't know what full is because it's the dual tanks. It's hard to fill.
Yeah, dual tanks. Like in your car, you'll get to a point where you'll hit a turn and the light will blink. It's like, okay, I know I'm at this level.
Yeah.
And then it'll blink again. It's like, okay. And then in the succession of rapid blinks, you realize, okay, I need to go get gas now.
The 328, the gauge works really good. I trust it. This gauge, I put gas in the car every time I drive it because I don't know what full is and I don't know what empty is. Yeah. And half lasts 100 miles.
You have to also now realize you have to know how much fuel it holds.
30 gallons.
Okay, so Jesus Christ.
It's huge. But it's these saddle tanks with the crossover pipe. Right. So you have to fill it. Wait, fill it, wait, and I never know when it's actually done.
You gotta shake the car as you're filling it to get the air to move and out.
It's fine, okay.
If you notice how much you put in compared to where the needle is, it's like, okay, I've put in half a tank now.
I know what mostly full is, I just don't know what totally full is. So
more jinky stuff.
Was that a ground of some kind?
That is the ground.
But so that's not supposed to be like that?
Well, they just put like this on. They got some Pep Boys ground, it looks like. Yeah, that's just some regular.
So you don't think that's how that's supposed to be?
It shouldn't be. Okay. No, that's not cool.
And is this is the brake cable here?
Yeah, so this goes through, it disconnects up here, so that'll be put aside.
I don't know everything about everything, and I know very little about a lot, but that seems pretty janky.
Yeah, it's right here. And then it comes out.
Totally exposed.
It's like, I don't know.
All right.
So the other thing are the brakes. Yeah. Just again, due to age, you got this is a rear, plenty of meat.
So this disc is going to survive?
Yeah, we'll clean it up.
The pads look not much. Am I missing something?
No, they're fat.
Yeah?
They're totally usable. But, everything's going to be replaced. All soft lines are nice and hard. They're not cracking, but, this shit, it just gets replaced. Okay. This is where the engine starts, and it ends way the hell back there.
That's crazy. It's like 7 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And here's more leaks I just wiped off. There's no disconnect. There's no, tell you what, we'll allow you to take 4 feet off just because.
You have to take it off, take it. The
whole fucking thing.
Starting here.
Including.
All the way back here.
The shift lever. So the lever is just.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's like, here, let's just
So the
fuck with you
lever has
some
to
more.
come down through the console and journey all the way around.
Yeah. But back to the leaks,
Yeah.
everything is so saturated wet.
Yeah, there's oil all over it. Yeah,
And then you look up
yeah.
inside, and it's like, okay, I've got some seepage, but that's not the main point of the leak.
This is really wet here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is really wet.
But
this
that's
whole
like
thing
blow
is
by.
really
This
wet.
has been wet to the point, and for the
Where the
length of
paint is off
time,
it. Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
soaked the paint right off.
What's above that? Yeah, well, that's the front of the.
So this is your slave for your clutch, and it's leaking.
Oh, good.
So, and then you go all the way up, and I swear to fucking God, that's the leak.
Yeah,
straight
from
up.
where that's where.
And I've been up there, and I've tightened it. I've taken it off. I put O-rings on it.
Where that bolt is?
But I think it's actually coming from above and behind.
Yeah.
That plate is where the initial leak has been coming from.
Okay.
But
All right. Well, you're gonna fix it. I trust you.
no heavy damage.
Yeah.
Kissed at some point at some low, hit a curb or whatever. And somebody did a Mickey Mouse fix. End of engine. Front suspension. Front suspension is again, just as bad. Ball joints, gargantuan shock.
Quality brake duct. It's like.
Oh wow, I have some of that material.
Good. We're gonna need a new one.
Yeah, because you see, look,
Is it got a
it's
hole in it?
literally collapsed over
it's not
a
so
brace,
great.
so it's not breaking as much. Oh, this is groovy.
Oh, dude. What do you think that does?
I have no idea, but more funkiness. These are pretty fat, and it's got a nice little dip here. So if these are savable, we'll save them. If I can get the real deal and they're reasonable, we could get the real deal.
Yeah, we're going so far in there, man. I just say
Exactly.
get new ones.
These brakes are all cracked up and starting to kind of get funky, and they get real. You got any brake noise?
Dude, I haven't driven this car in like 8 months. I can't remember.
So
I'm sorry to say.
Everything's just old. So
Yeah.
everything just needs attention.
Yeah.
Again, everything will be fresh powder coated. All your bushings will be set. What's nice is you have adjustments fucking
This
everywhere.
comes so far forward.
Yeah.
This part of this control is this. I mean, it is a control. It's an A-arm, but like.
It also acts as a control
But
arm.
the spread, it's amazing how far forward it goes, right?
And again, all of this will be
Like, look at the difference, Zach, between the front connection of that and the axle. It's a big spread. That may be normal, and I might just not have looked under enough cars. But Donnie, isn't that pretty far?
That's super far. Yeah, that's crazy far. Because everything comes into this narrow frame.
Yeah. Oh, nice to know there's tow hooks under here too.
bow in it as well.
Oh yeah, that is definitely bent.
Yeah.
100%. That one is straight. Yeah, I think that might need replacing.
And then if you look up inside of the
Would this
of
be
the joint.
repaired or replaced?
Let's see if I can replace it. Because when you start tweaking metal,
Yeah.
not that it'll ever happen. If I can get one for a reasonable amount of money, then just get it.
No, and again, I want it done right, but I just don't know what the answer is because I don't know anything.
If you can look in here, you can see the material is squishing out. It's gone on this side and it's squishing out on that side.
Yeah.
That Teflon or whatever the
I
hell
like
it
that
is.
this was clearly just like hand slathered on.
Oh yeah. Bertone just threw this thing together.
Yeah. It's not bad though.
No, the car's fucking excellent. I
Yeah,
don't think
the
it's
car's
ever been
nice.
nailed.
Yeah. I'm gonna have my
even
guy.
think it's ever
I'm gonna
been
have my guy
changed.
touch this up too. I got at West Side. I got one of the best touch-up painters you've ever met in your life, and I'm gonna have him do this underside of this. I didn't do any of this shit. I bought the car like this, which nothing wrong with a few nicks, but we could have that. I could have that fixed. All right. So I mean, nothing under here is really unexpected. Is this supposed to be bolted to something?
That's your
Yikes!
yeah.
That looks like garbage. That needs to be
That's
fixed.
this piece, yeah.
Can we fix that?
Absolutely.
That's not good at all. Did you take that out, or did that? Okay, that we definitely need to fix. That looks like shit.
So yeah, I'll replace, now that I'm really looking at it, I'll give you all nice fresh ducts.
Yeah.
Duct.
You think, are these just drains from the compartment above?
They're for the condenser, I think, for the AC and maybe off of the windshield.
Okay.
Somebody did a really nice job on these Corellos. Very nice.
Those are cool.
They're fucking
like those.
bitchin'.
Yeah. That's Vinny found those for me. The French market yellow fog lights. Those are badass.
So underneath, it's really about, there's not a lot of surprises. It's what we thought. It's the bushings are trashed.
Sure.
It's been used. Stuff is original and old, just like all the Ferraris. Yeah. And it's time to actually do it right. And it's going to take a long time. It's going to be really fucking expensive. And it's going to drive like a completely different car when you're
going
done.
to have a brand new Lamborghini.
It's going to be amazing.
Just like the 328. You're going to have a
difference with that
showroom car off the floor.
Amazing.
I know. I didn't even expect that.
It was so great.
And I know this car like I knew your car, but your car I was used to, this is just the way they are.
Yeah.
And I know your car is really floaty and doggish. And it's like, really? This is what the hype is about? This is like, okay, it's just an old car. It's funky, big boat. So to bring this back to what it was, what the original hype was, what the original car was, is like so fucking cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll come back and check in. I want to be here when you actually physically take the engine out. So hopefully we'll be able to come back for that. But
Sure.
But right now, I'm not too worried.
Well,
I'm mentally prepared for a long and expensive process, but it's what the car needs. Like, it's worth doing right.
Yes.
You know, and it's worth getting this thing where it needs to be for the next 20 years.
At least. And the other thing is, it's pretty simple. Italians were maniacs, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it was simple. It was kept simple because they just did what they could do, hands-on at the time. You know, stuff didn't morph out into Martian technology by this point.
Right.
So it's all very simple. It's just intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait.
All right, cool. Thanks, Donnie. Ferrari_1966 on Instagram. If you need Donnie for anything in California or elsewhere, you wait your turn because he's busy.
Thank you.
But best in the desert out here for your old Italian car's needs. Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it always. And
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
we'll see you guys back in the canyons with another brand new sports car in our next video.
So hit the link in the description or go to drift.co and use code TIRE55 for 55% off of these amazing Drift scents. And thanks to Drift for sponsoring today's video. And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.
In this video, we will ask ourselves, why would you want a Huracan Technica compared to its competition from McLaren, Ferrari, and yes, even Corvette? Is it worth the money? And where does it stand in terms of the lineup of Lamborghinis? Hey all, today's video is brought to you by the Brio beardscape, and they are back with V2 version 2. I love my Brio beardscape, and now the V2, the second one, is even better. First, the handle is even more ergonomic with these nice rubberized side grips, so it doesn't slip even with wet hands. It's all built around that same really powerful motor and super long-lasting battery. If you were going backpacking in the Andes for 6 months, you could charge this thing up once, and it would last you the whole trip. You wouldn't even have to bring the rather nice-looking stand charger with you. It's got an all-new LCD screen, that same adjustable blade length that we love, plus all the different attachments that allow me to do my goatee, my side, my top, and body hair, all with one unit.
It's great. The motor's strong. The blades are perfectly spaced, and this ceramic upper blade virtually never has to be sharpened. It can go for years and years. It's a powerhouse. It doesn't tug or pull, and it has become my favorite go-to buzzer for literally the last year. V1 was great. V2 is even better. You only have to charge it like once or twice a year, maybe, and that's if you're using it a lot. Plus, they've now got the zero blade. This thing is a really, really tight blade design, so it's great for really tight edges, right? Keep it away from your fun bits because that could get kind of dangerous, but it's good for other places in this region. And right now, hit the link in the description and we've got a special deal for you. Buy the Brio Beardscape V2 and get the Zero Blade, a $24.95 value for $3.99 included with purchase. All from your friends at the Smoking Tire and our favorite buzzer, the Brio Beardscape.
Hello, everybody. Here I am, wedged into the Lamborghini Technica. Colloquially, this car will almost certainly be known as the STO Touring. Everything we loved about the STO in a more livable, comfortable package, meaning less aero, more comfortable seats, a trunk, and a rear window. That's about as livable as we get. For reminder, if you haven't seen my STO video, 631 horsepower, naturally aspirated, 5.2 liter V10 engine, 417 pound-feet of torque, dual clutch gearbox, rear wheel drive with rear wheel steer. You have two tire choices, a Bridgestone Sport or race tire. This one, of course, has the race because we're at the Thermal Club today on track. It is, the day is warm. You would look up balls, comma, hot as in the dictionary. And fortunately, these naturally aspirated Lamborghinis, they love a hot day. They're not bothered by a hot day. But the rear drive, rear wheel steer, sharp linear steering rack, linear throttle pedal, all that tuning comes from the STO, but with less downforce. That means we're going to have a very lively package on the track. It weighs 22 pounds less than the rear-wheel drive Evo, thanks to carbon doors, carbon bonnets, and some other carbon bits, plus lightweight wheels. But even though it doesn't look that different from the Evo at first glance, the new body shape has 35% more downforce than the Evo and is 20% slipperier. The brake design with new ductwork helps the fluid and the pads run cooler, and the pads are now lasting 13% longer. It can do 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. It can do 124 miles an hour in 9.1 seconds with a top speed of 202 miles an hour. And as you might guess, it's expensive. You're talking 300 grand, basically. Depending on options, of which there are many, you can customize it in an awful lot of ways. Colors, interior trims, leathers, stuff like that. And we're gonna head out on the track right now. Believe it or not my first track in the Technica. We had it at the Road and Track Performance Car of the Year test at Montalcino, so I've already got some track time, but I didn't get to do a Smoking Tire video for you guys, and so here we are. In this video, we will ask ourselves, why would you want a Huracan Technica compared to its competition from McLaren, Ferrari, and yes, even Corvette? Is it worth the money? And where does it stand in terms of the lineup of Lamborghinis? Here we go. because I have some experience, they have agreed to do follow lead. And that was 230 kilometers an hour on the outlap. Track is hot, the tires are hot, and this car moves around, accentuated by that rear wheel steer. The Technica is not about ultimate lap times. That's the STO. The Technica is about fun, 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 till daddy takes the trust fund away. Down into second, late apex, early throttle, lots of work in the steering there. I'm in Corsa mode. The stability control is in sport but not full off. Allows me to have quite a bit of slip on the exit without losing control. And in fact, one of the things I really like about this car is that for a mid-engine car, it has an awful lot of corner exit stability. It is not the least bit twitchy, even though you can definitely get it to oversteer, both on the entry and on the exit. One thing that we have learned is if you bang the rev limiter a lot, it does get unhappy. The sound obviously is premium, right? Hexagonal exhaust tips. We may have reached peak hexagon from Lamborghini with those hexagonal exhaust tips, but boy do they sound the business, huh? Gear changes lightning fast. The brakes, the feel is so nice and firm. The pedal pressure is excellent. And they really hold up to hot track day work. They have been running these cars consistently all day, and no brake fluid changes, none of that. The brakes are really holding up nice, able to balance it on the exit there. At Performance Car of the Year, Monticello is a very hilly course, and so we didn't know if the movement of the car with the undulations of the track was the track or the car. Here at the Thermal Club, where the track is totally flat, we know it's the car. The car likes to move around. It's lively, it's fun, it's light. Light by Lamborghini standards anyway. It is definitely the most lively Huracan ever, which can make it the most entertaining. Having said that, I drove it in the cold and rain in the Catskills, and not great there. I would call it unpleasant in a wet Catskills back road day. That wasn't really where this car shines. But on a smooth track like Thermal Club here, where you can manage everything, consistent tarmac, the balance is really fun. I mean, it's fun because it makes you do work. It's unlike other Huracans in that regard. And it's playful and lively. It's not that it's twitchy, at least not on track, but it moves. I'm still working on this late apex, and I can hold that slide just a little longer than I would like. No, that's not true. Not quite as long as I would like. It shut me down because it was a very long corner, and if I was full off, but they asked me not to be full off, and you know, if they're providing the cars and the track, what are you gonna do but oblige? This transition here, really nice balance. The steering is very light. It definitely dances a little bit under braking. It doesn't have the
stability of the STO with that big wing. And that really becomes apparent at the high-speed braking sections where it doesn't really plant the tail as well. Still a very, very good time. Very flickable. I need to get down later, and now full throttle. Losing some grip as I hit the bumpy curbing there. Get down. Yorin behind me for the follow lead is sliding his STO. He has turned his cheat code on. Yeah, the linear steering, so sharp. You don't even really appreciate how sharp it is on the track. You really have to go on the street to understand just how sharp the steering is. On a windy back road, and we're going to shut her down here because my fuel light has just come on. On a windy back road, you go, oh my God, this thing is sharp. On the track, it feels, well, it's perfect steering, but very, very sharp on the street to the point where it can feel a little twitchy. Now, who is this car for? Well, it's for someone who wants the toughness, the style, and the sound of Lamborghini, but one that they can make move, that they can slide, that they can work. Not all Lamborghinis are like that. A lot of them understeer. The tendency in this car is towards oversteer, and that's great. Where does it sit in the pantheon of super sports cars? Well, it's still not very roomy. The ergonomics still aren't great. Oh, we're letting someone come by on our cool down lap. I see. We can let them come by. Ergonomics still aren't great. There's a new one coming out in 2024, but that's going to be hybrid. In fact, all Lamborghinis will be hybrid. So it's for someone who is dedicated to a naturally aspirated, over-engineered, and under-stressed platform. And I still think, based on Lamborghini's current and recent sales, it's a record year, by the way, that there's room for that. And where does it sit in Lamborghini's lineup? Well, it's under the STO, but it's far more usable and livable as an everyday or perhaps even an only car in the right climate. You can see out the rear window, even with this cage installed here. I can still see. I can put things in the trunk. And the seats are much, much more comfortable than the STO seats. So overall, I really like it. Very stiff competition at Road and Track Performance Car of the Year. So you'll have to wait for that story to see how it does there. But here at the Thermal Club on a flat, even track, we've learned that it's lively, it likes to dance around, it requires both skill and work to drive it to its limit, but when you get there, ooh, very, very fun stuff. So thanks to Lamborghini for having me out today, thanks to you guys for watching, and we'll see you later.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.
No. The most Italian answer ever? No. This is not the car's problem.
I want to see what it's like at like club cruising speeds.
Okay.
Hey folks, today's video is brought to you by Bob's Watches, the official watch retailer of the Smoking Tire podcast and the only place that I buy Rolex watches from. It's not just Rolex, Omega, Patek, Panerai, Cartier, you name it, Bob's probably has it. Everything on their website is in stock and ready to ship. They have a whole team of technicians inspecting, certifying, photographing, servicing their stock, so you know that what you're getting is exactly the watch you see on the website, serviced and ready to go. Hundreds of good reviews across the internet for Bob's watches. Also, independent certification is available if you require that. If you're one of those people getting the call from the AD, your new Submariner is in, sir, by all means, buy it. No hate. But if you're not one of those whales, you got to go somewhere like Bob's. So you might as well head over to bobswatches.com/TST. Check out the selection I have curated from Bob's stock. Maybe you like something, maybe you take it home. Hit the link in the description to check it out for yourself. And thanks to Bob's for sponsoring not just today's video, but a whole year's worth of videos. It's the only place you want to go for a Rolex watch. Oh, what a day, folks. What an opportunity here, because I got a phone call at, I don't know, 10 a.m. yesterday from Lamborghini, who said the first Aventador Ultimae has arrived and we can have it to you in 3 hours. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Sometimes these things happen.
Yes, occasionally those things happen. And here it is. And the car, I kid you not, was dropped off with less than 50 miles on it. They didn't break it in. They just dumped it off a truck and sent it to me. So we are doing the break-in.
We are.
In this video, we will answer a couple of basic questions. Main question is the Ultimae, which is the final 350 Aventadors they'll make, and then 250 Roadsters.
Right, 600 total.
600 total. Is it just the SVJ Touring, as many of our Instagram commenters pointed out? And we will also find out, is it worth the $560,000 they're asking for this particular car? 500 base, this one has 60K in options. And is the Aventador, even in Ultimae trim, still relevant in 2022?
Right, I mean, they've made it for
supercars?
10 years, so is it long in the tooth?
It has been a minute. The boilerplate information is this is the most powerful Aventador ever. It has 769 horsepower at 8,500 RPM, 531 pound-feet of torque at 6,750 RPM, still using that OG 7-speed independent shifting rod gearbox with a dry plate clutch and all-wheel drive. 0 to 60, 2.8 seconds, top speed 221 miles an hour. It's very tough to nail down the curb weight of these vehicles.
Yeah, because they give it to you in dry weight.
Dry weight.
Dry weight.
Yeah.
What do you weigh without blood?
Best guess, 36s. Somewhere.
It's 34.15 dry, something like that?
The best guess is the curb weight is in 36s. Still has hydraulic power steering, has rear steer. It has a carbon tub with inboard extruded aluminum subframes and inboard mag ride shocks.
Yep.
It has giant carbon ceramic brakes, and they have retuned for it has a little more torque that goes to the rear than the S model. And this one has $26,000 in paint.
$26,000 and
paint.
it's gray.
Yes.
It is flat battleship
It's
gray.
gray.
It is
26K
very battleshipy.
in gray. So, drive modes, Strada is street, Sport is sport, Corsa is race. Ego is very appropriately named, but it's the driver programmable one, and I have programmed it so that we have soft dampers, we have middle steering, and then we have Corsa powertrain. Interesting thing about getting a car with such low miles on it is that it became very apparent on the way up here that the brakes were not yet bedded in. And so even though these are very enormous, very powerful carbon ceramics, they don't work quite as well as they will with a proper bed in.
Woo! Oh, the sound does not get old. Does not get old.
The burble tune is much more of a crackle tune in this car.
But in this, I believe it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it might be programmed, but we know that there were V12s before burble tune existed that just crackled because of overrun. So in this, I believe it. And somehow it's more subtle than some of the Elantra tunes I've seen.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, buddy. And the speed is extraordinary. Although the gear changes are very antiquated compared to modern stuff, the faster you go, the better it gets. The harder you're braking, the better it downshifts. And what they've really done well over time, the early Aventadors, you had to drive almost like a front-wheel drive car, deep trail braking, not get back on power until they were straight. The programming of the rear steer has really changed that game entirely.
We reviewed one with the Countach and the Aventador in like 2011 or
Yeah.
something, and it was actually the car you ended up buying, the Countach. But I remember the amount of lift you'd get in the front.
Right.
Getting on the throttle mid-corner, even the lightest bit,
Right.
was like a car doing a wheelie. And
Right.
it felt unsafe. It did.
So they've dialed that out pretty significantly. The rear steer programming is superb, starting with the S. They've incrementally improved it. The SVJ rotated on the track. It properly rotated. And hold please for tunnel. Very important.
Where's our window button?
Window buttons in the middle. Second gear from 4. Here we go. Still does that well. We just blew out the mic, didn't we?
We did. All the lights flashed.
We blew it all out. I love that this car is very solid feeling. It feels like a really high quality, well-made item. The materials are excellent.
It looks really nice in here. I mean, the
The
blend of
Audi
carbon,
radio from 2004
Alcantara.
could go, but the materials are good.
No one's paying attention to that when they get in this thing. Like, that screen is brilliant and bright. The carbon surround looks nice. This Alcantara with these laser cuts looks really cool. I don't know if they'll last more than like a month if people start touching them, but they look really awesome.
For something this wide and this heavy, the agility is there. It is there. I mean, it's not agile like a GT4 RS. It can't be.
Right.
But it's got a fucking 770 horsepower V12 in the back.
Jeez, that kick
The kick,
is
right?
hard.
I actually, when I'm going flat, I like the kick. I really do.
Yeah, it's the occasion thing. It's what they said when they made the LFAs, that
Right.
they put the kick in on purpose to engage you more, to give you more of an experience, which
Right.
I think it's valid. You know, when everything's just seamless, you end up with what? You end up with a CVT.
Right. Where the kick is bad is when you're in street mode, in automatic, having a coffee with your hand, because it still does the buck, but it does it when it wants to and not when you tell it to, so you're not prepared.
Right, when the car spends most of its life cruising around town, and it does it badly.
Yeah. Sense of occasion, the sense of, this is what Lamborghini is really about. Being mildly uncomfortable, not seeing anything, and having the most wonderful sounds. Oh, Crackle Tune. Crackle Tune is way better than Burble.
Yeah, because there's an end to the crackle tune. It's just a blah, blah, blah. This is so fast. It doesn't feel fast because it's so planted and it doesn't rock back that hard. And then I look over at the numbers. It's very, very fast.
Yeah, the speed that you can't look at the speedo. You'll have a little poo.
Right. The butt dyno here was like, oh, this is like 60. So that kick is.
Whoa!
Got a little wind noise on the right side.
That's because of the massive radiators.
Giant mirror. The radiators in this thing are gigantic. They're
They
like
are.
pizza boxes.
All right, we're gonna find a turnout so Mr. Clapman can have a
Yes.
go. When was the last? Because I'm very privileged. I have been. We'll raise the nose, pull into the dirt here.
Oh, going too fast. Lifting.
No, the dirt's pretty low.
Oh no. Oh, there we go. I had to drop it down to a low speed. But the nose lift is good. It doesn't cancel out while you're turning the wheels, which is good.
Yeah, that's important.
I think the brakes are bedded in. I have been privileged in that I've gotten to drive every Aventador, every version. Coupes, roadsters, everything. And that's awesome. I'm super stoked. So I can count the incremental
You can feel the
improvements in this
changes
car.
they've made.
But the last one you drove was 2012,
I think it was
the
2011 or
Roadster,
12,
right? Yeah, okay. So not... Yes, I got it! Got the weirdest message ever on a car. Lower the car, risk of dazzle. What that means, I don't know, but I am dazzled.
Let us know in the comments what you think that means.
Risk of dazzle, best warning light ever.
The ergonomics are interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I get in, I have the seat dropped on the ground, my hair is touching the roof.
Yeah.
So for you, I mean, your head is almost touching the roof.
Do you remember what the very upfront and honest Lamborghini person told me when I said I didn't fit in it very well?
No.
The most Italian answer ever? No. This is not the car's problem. They're not, like, if you're over 5'8", you could forget about a helmet. Want to go Corsa?
Yeah, let's do Corsa. This is a smooth road.
Yeah.
All right. Lifting temp disabled. Lifting temporary disabled. So I think we're down now.
I think we went down.
Okay,
Yeah.
and goodbye. Wow, I can still. There's the lift is better in the corners, or the like the way the nose lifts.
Yeah.
You can still feel
You
it
still-
a little bit.
You still can't get on the throttle super
No.
early. It has a massive stagger, front
Yeah,
to
yeah.
rear. The rear tires are like,
10 feet wider.
yeah.
Yeah, the brakes were not bedded in yet. As
Correct,
you said.
right?
Yeah. So, McLarens or, I don't know, like 918s, Ferraris, you can get on the gas a lot sooner than this car. To put
Yeah.
it in perspective for anyone who's been around one of those
Cross-shopping.
cars. Yeah, cross-shopping. Oh, the sound, though. Oh, the sound is
peak
so good.
torque is at 6750. So
Very high.
So the characteristic of the engine, although you can run it lower than that, you really don't get that massive power until you're way up top.
That's the big difference between this and like a twin turbo V8
Yeah.
McLaren, because peak power in this is 8,500.
Right.
Let's run it out. The shift is smoother higher up in the rev
Yeah.
range on the gas. It's
If
very
you shift
weird.
it above 65,
Yeah.
it's fine. It sort of does like a power shift.
Yeah, it's much smoother. Whereas down below that, you
Yeah.
feel the manual shifting.
Yeah.
It's like riding with somebody who's actually shifting. This is incredible. This thing. So if dry weight's 34, I was looking up. The 812 GTS weighs 3,900.
Yeah.
So even if you add 300 pounds of fluid to this, let's say, you're still lighter than that car. And
Well,
this looks
it's
like
still
a bigger
carbon
vehicle.
tub, bro.
Yeah.
It's still a carbon tub is, saves weight.
And you feel it. It feels very rigid. The steering is very quick. It's got a nice weight to it, though.
It does.
It does. Gosh, this is an experience. Like, objectively, I think the 812 is better. It's like, if you measure it, it's like it has
yeah.
more room.
It's a better car.
It's a better car, but Lamborghinis are not about objective judgment. Like the Countach
Yeah.
is named
Awful
after like
car.
a literal subjective expression, like an emotion, like holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah.
So, like subjectively, this is such a special experience and a very unique experience these days. As everything goes twin turbo, it gets quieter and quieter and like smoother and better.
So let's go. Now we're in ego. So I just
All right.
softened the shocks.
Let's see how.
So I think in this setting, with the soft shock,
The turn in is really good in this car.
Yeah.
It is quick.
rear steer. I mean,
Yeah.
rear steer is some magic shit.
It really is. It transforms the front end of a car using the rear end. I mean, how do you not want to just rev it out and listen to it all day long?
And it really, the programming of the all-wheel drive system, it gets the power down really, really nicely.
Yeah. Do you know what the torque split was, front rear? I could not find that number.
No, but they favored the rear a little more versus the S in
in this model.
Yeah, you just got to go and then roll. Like, you don't roll on the gas till the last quarter of a turn. Ooh, the damping's nice. It soaked that up. I mean, this is
good, right?
Smooth tarmac, but with some rollers underneath. Yeah, it's very good.
Inboard mag ride is a really good.
That's a really good
setup, right?
Saves,
but like
unspun
this
weight.
car, like what I love about this car is that it's an adventure. Like driving this thing is an adventure.
Yeah, it is unabashedly itself.
Yeah,
and it always has been. And the handling is much better. Which, when I drove that old one, like I was very disappointed.
Yeah,
because the handling was
bad,
kind of sketchy.
It was
and I was like,
bad.
It was meeting your hero, and your hero's a jerk. And now they've kind of fixed that.
Yeah, it's like it's imperfect.
Yeah,
but they've really done a good job improving it, it's quite charming.
Wait, let's put it in auto mode.
Oh,
I want to see what it's like at like club cruising speeds.
Okay.
We should test that part of it because it's a big part of the car's life.
This is regular old auto.
All right, so we're just cruising. Ladies, what's up? That downshift took like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can get up to upshift. We gotta go around again? Okay, good. Wow.
It's terrible.
That was like, ugh.
Yeah. If
Ugh.
there's one thing you don't ever want to do in an Aventador, it's put it in Strata Auto.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
It's gonna make people think it's broken or it's cheap or and I only say that because this has been around 10 years. In that 10 years, the advancements in dual clutches from other OEMs has been so extreme that the comparison is quite
And there
stark.
didn't used to be a dual clutch that could hold this kind of power, and now there is.
Yeah.
This is a good spot here.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect timing. I mean, but okay. So to go back to where we started, is this the SVJ Touring? I think yes, it is.
Yeah.
In fact, it's if you want to use an actual Porsche analogy, it's more so than Porsche's, because Porsche, it's just trim and a wing. Everything else is the same. The suspension's the same. All that stuff's the same. This, you actually have a more street-oriented suspension.
Yeah, and 10 more horsepower, actually.
And a little extra horsepower to offset the weight of these seats or whatever.
This car's, it's 55 pounds heavier than the SVJ,
Right.
which is like comfy seats and some sound editing.
Yeah. So, yes, it is. Is the Aventador still relevant as a supercar for $560,000? I think it is, actually. I believe it or not, it's not as objectively good as a 720 or as, some other more modern cars. But as a supercar experience, it does not disappoint.
No, and it's a rare experience. You can't find this with the noise and everything else these days.
Right.
It's going away.
Yeah, and it's very, very cool. Is it worth the money? Well, I don't know what it's like to have this kind of money, but you won't be able to buy something like this pretty soon. All Lambos will be hybrid. Cars are getting objectively better, but not necessarily subjectively more exciting. And this is unashamedly exciting.
And look,
extremely exciting.
The only other cars that are like the A12 is the same price.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to a different mid-engine V12, you're talking 7 figures. Or anything that looks this exciting and sounds this exciting, you're going Pagani, Koenigsegg, like you're way out of this price range. So
in LA, there's a lot of Aventadors.
Yes.
It's probably LA, Miami, and like Dubai are probably the highest concentration in the world of Aventadors. So you do see a lot of Aventadors here by comparison. Anywhere but those cities, an Aventador is, the whole town knows you're there.
Yeah.
An Aventador is a showstopper anywhere else besides those three places. And people are always excited by them. The design has aged beautifully. This is a stunning car. It looks gorgeous.
It still looks as extroverted as it always has.
Right, exactly. So thank you to Lamborghini for letting the Smoking Tire have first crack at this. It now has 108 miles on the odometer.
Man.
And we're going to have to do a little more brake bedding in after this. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app, available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/